Hey everyone, I'm Benj. This is What Could Be Bad. Excited to be back for another episode. Today I have a very special guest, a good friend. This is Scott Feld.
Hello, Benj.
Hello. So Scott is, he's many things. He's an entrepreneur, he's a DJ, he's a coach, and he's an author of this wonderful book, Dax to the Max, which I enjoyed with my kid. Has a lot of wonderful lessons, which we need to talk about.
Let's talk about it.
Because this is a podcast focused on mental health and wellness, culture, all of these things. And I think we need to help get messages of positivity out there. And that is a huge part of this book. It's inspiring and it's guiding. And I guess it'd probably be better if you talk about the book.
Yeah, you're doing good.
Oh, thank you. So, Dax is your son.
Yes.
And then you built an entire world around that, which I think is really awesome.
Yeah. So Dax is my 10-year-old son. And I like how you said kind of inspiring and guiding. Guiding is a good word for it because Max shows up as Dax's guide in the book. Mm-hmm. And Max is Dax's inner superpower, or ISP.
Okay.
With a play on the ESP words. And it's Dax at his maximum or his best.
Yeah.
But he has not been that way. He's been having stinking thinking.
Stinking thinking's no good.
Yeah, so stinking thinking, negative self-talk. I can't, it's too hard, I'm not good enough. The kind of words that all of us say, kids tend to say themselves. I call them, in the courses, which we'll talk about later, those are the bad words. Not allowed to say bad words, but you say those bad words. You say them to yourself. You're mean to yourself. You don't realize it, but you're actually holding yourself back. Mm-hmm. And it feels like it's outside of you, but it can actually be inside of you. That's the inner superpower that we can also use. So Dax is having stinking thinking. In the book, he creates blah, blah, blobs. This, my friends, is a blah, blah, blob. Okay? Blah, blah, blobs, although often kind of cute.
Yeah, they
tricky.
are kind of cute.
Yeah.
Especially that one.
That one's cute. Very tricky,
There's
though.
different blah, blah, blobs in here.
There is.
And the art is fantastic in this book. Really.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I have a great illustrator in Canada, Keziah.
Keziah?
Yeah, Keziah Crosley.
That's a beautiful name.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We've never met in person, but we've done a few different projects together.
How was it like working with someone on creating the images for a story that is obviously very personal, where it comes from, the core of Dax, obviously.
Yeah.
But like communicating ideas for someone else to bring to life. What was that like?
Yeah, so Keziah and I had already built a relationship before this book. This is my second book.
Okay.
I wrote a picture book about 5 years earlier called Dax to the Max, Imagination.
Awesome.
The power of imagination over fear. My publisher, who was also in Canada, had introduced me to Keziah.
Yeah.
And we worked together, and she got it. She did a great job. And she was easy to work with, and my fear would always be like, I would say something and I would hurt her feelings.
Okay.
Like, oh, maybe this could be a little different in whatever way. And she'd be like, oh, you just don't get me. I'm an artist, right?
Yeah.
But she was never that way.
Guilty. Yeah. Yeah.
And so what happened after I wrote that first book is I was approached, and it was a surprise, by a production company. And it was a lady who was local here in Carlsbad, but she belonged to 3 Degrees Entertainment, which had partners in New York and LA, and they had some credits to their name. And she said on Nextdoor app, of all places in the world, between what dogs are pooping on here.
Oh, Nextdoor is hilarious. That's exactly right.
Yeah, and what kids on e-bikes are doing.
My neighbor's breathing again.
Yeah. In between there, somehow there was, hey, I work for this production company. Your book looks interesting. I would love to pass it by my partners. Would you be interested in writing a TV show? I was like, sure. I have no idea how, but I spent 1.5 years with them learning and then writing a script.
Cool.
And when you write the script and you do what are called the log lines, the future episodes, you also create a pitch deck. And the pitch deck is what they actually bring to the showrunners to see if they want to buy the show. So Keziah, when I came to her, I'm like, hey, ever done a pitch deck? She's like, yeah, I have. So we had worked on the pitch deck together prior to this book. Now, there was an unfortunate incident, and that was the writer's strike in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And so right when they started pitching, I had written it, we did all the work, put the money into it, they couldn't sell it. Nobody was buying.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. And they changed the industry. So now when you bring something to showrunners, they're very nervous. They're very skeptical unless you have your 1 million followers.
Yeah.
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 And so I took the script that I had written and brought it to this book.
Oh,
So
I see.
this
That's
is
awesome.
a version of that, a little bit different, but a version of it.
So she was already inside that
already in
process,
the world.
and
Yeah.
you guys had experience.
Yeah.
I think that really lends to a great final product
Yeah.
in most cases.
The cover was the last thing that we did.
Uh-huh.
And it was a different cover. It was actually one of the illustrations from inside the book. And she actually came to me and she goes, "It's not good." She goes, "I drew it and it's not good for the cover. You need something way more exciting." And she actually did this on her own.
That's really awesome.
And she brought it to me and I was like, "Yep, you hit it." So yeah, it was great working with her.
Did it take a little bit of like trust in that moment to allow her to just take the reins? Because I mean, I imagine it's like, this is your baby. And
Yeah, I mean, I didn't give her the reins. She took them.
Yeah.
And she delivered. And if she hadn't, I would have been like, "Hey, let's
Yeah.
change this." Something about this book when I was writing it is there's like, I tell the kids when I read it, I'm like, the book that you're looking at is like number like 743 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it was just one word that changed it. But I was going to make sure that when I read this book, or for me,
Yeah.
that I never looked at any part of it and went, that could have been better, or I kind of let that go because I was in a rush. And that's very much me. I can be in a rush just to get it done. But this time I was like, stop, Scott, check it. Are you sure? And that's why it took a little longer to get this out.
I think that's great that you shifted to make sure you were completely happy with the product. Because I mean, it's kind of like, I would imagine, like a song or an album where once it's out there, you're really not, going back the other way or anything like that.
Yeah, it's totally true. Like, that's exactly it. It's already been out there. So that's the way I feel about this book.
Well, I love that. My kid loves it. And also, let's talk about how you took this idea and then created real world experiences for kids to learn through with each other. Because I think a lot of the things that people are learning in schools are not as much experiential based, like positive thinking. It's like, you're learning math, you're learning, how to read and write and those things. So it's a different kind of learning.
It is.
But this is invaluable, I think, given the context of what America is that these kids are going to enter, is that there's a lot of negative influence coming in. I mean, my 7-year-old is borrowing my phone more than I use it, I think. And that's like on me, obviously. But we're trying to tame that a little bit at home. But this will combat the negativity that comes through, I think, through overuse of phones and screens and all that.
Yeah, I think so. So the chord, when you put something out, and this with music, here comes the feedback. And some of the feedback on this was like, how can we use this as parents? It's a great book. It has a lot of lessons, right?
Totally does.
You think, you create blobs. You created them, so you can also power think and create power pods. That's what Max teaches Dax.
Yeah.
Power pods are I can, I will, I'll try, I'm learning, I'm growing type talk.
Yeah.
Just switching the channel on your thoughts, right? And once you do that, you can defeat those blobs. Blobs automatically shrink, power pods grow. Now you feel more confident, right? More resilient. You can get out in the world and do things, and not be stopped by fear and doubt and all that. So
it's not all that. That's a big deal. And I feel like people aren't coaching that to kids enough. I mean, when they go to sports, they get some of that, but it's not a direct conduit to the experience, I feel like.
I just wrote an article for a local magazine, Calavera Hills, in Carlsbad, and I talked about the sports thing. And my writing was, maybe winning shouldn't be the goal.
Yeah.
And because if you don't win, you feel bad. And if you do win, you feel good. So it's outside of you.
Yeah.
And yes, you can contribute to the win, but there's also a lot of other factors that go along with that win, especially if you're on a team, right?
Sure. I think
so. I said, maybe the goal should be doing your best.
Yeah.
And getting better. And by the way, if you do that, and everybody does that, the result will probably be some wins.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and so, I think we put a lot on winning, so I just threw that in there. But
no, that's good. I think it's important also to like having goals and being competitive is a part of success.
Yeah.
And people want to be successful, and that's an okay goal too.
Yeah.
It's losing the focus on staying positive in the process of getting there. That I think is an easy thing to get derailed, with.
Right.
Or
No,
from.
you're right.
Yeah.
And so goals are really the most important, because that's the destination.
Mm-hmm.
And I always like to share, and this was me, when I was younger,
Yeah.
more in high school but I was this way in high school because I didn't get any of the messaging that I deliver now when I was younger. So
Yeah.
I didn't know any better, but
Yeah.
it kind of is like you're out in the middle of the ocean on a boat or a surfboard, and you're kind of paddling. And if you have no goal, no destination, here come the pirates.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, bro, what's going on?
You want to check out my boat?
Yeah, we got a party going on
Yeah.
over here. You want to come to the party, or we're going to do some of this bad stuff over
Yeah.
here, rub, pillage, drink some rum, whatever.
Yeah.
Want to come? And I'm like, yeah, I don't really know where I'm going, or I don't have anywhere to go. So sure, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I go with them. But if I have a goal, a destination, right? I see Fiji right over there, and I really want to get to Fiji.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to paddle, and they're going to come, and I'm going to say, no, thanks anyway. I'm going to Fiji. I have a goal. I have a place. I have a destination.
I would much rather go to Fiji than a pirate ship. Even though pirates are, cool when you're young and all that. We all know those waves in Fiji are where you go for.
Yeah, well, they make it sound good. Those
Yeah.
pirates.
Oh,
That's the thing.
Yeah. It seems like a big thing, especially when you get, you got Johnny Depp making the character all cool and fun and
Yeah,
that. But
pirates.
That's not the only pirate out there.
But to go back to your question,
Yeah.
so the feedback from the parents was like, how do we use these lessons versus just, so I had already had a course called The Keys to Unlock Your Inner Superpowers, which we can talk about, but I created a second course called the Beat the Blobs Challenge. And the Beat the Blobs Challenge basically takes a lesson from the book, right? And then you can do like an activity with that lesson yourself, write your own personal power book. So it becomes personal to you.
Yeah.
So you become Dax, you create what your own blobs would be. Like you said, some of them have names and personalities. They do. So what is your fear? What is your doubt?
Sure.
What is your stink thing? Get to know your blobs, because once you know them, you can confront them, you can see their weaknesses,
Yeah.
you can take them down.
Yeah, I love this.
And then we talk about the superpower team. For Dax in the book, Max became,
Sure.
There's a girl, Sasha, who's a friend.
Yep.
His dad, Funzy, he calls himself Funzy because he's a toy inventor and he has a good attitude. And Mom, who is a theater teacher,
Yeah.
and she has a kangaroo hand puppet named Kobe that she uses to connect to Dax,
Yeah.
right? That's his power team that he
Yeah.
can count on. So I encourage the kids, and by the way, your son's going to do this because he's coming to one of these live Friday, is he's going to create his power team. One member of that power team is going to be his BFF. Not best friend forever, though. Biggest fan forever. What would that fan say to you if you were up to something? If you wanted to do something, they would say, go for it. You can do it.
Yeah.
You'll be great. Give it a try, right? And so you're going to create that voice for yourself as a person, and then
love
you're going
that.
to relate it to
Yeah.
you talk that way to yourself as your own biggest fan forever.
Yeah, we all need that. I feel like it's really easy, I mean, we're talking about the phones and like influence of the world and all that. And we see so many lives, the high context culture, low context, I forget which one it is. But like it's about the idea that we're getting inundated with so much messaging, and we're seeing all these like, they call it highlight reels, right? Like people's like best moments.
Yeah.
And you don't see all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And with that, like it can make you feel like your life isn't where you want it to be or should be in a different direction.
Yep.
And that's not, I think, like very healthy for people to get over and over again. And so to have the mindset, it all comes back to a mindset of like strength, and you can rely on yourself. But I love how you can use imagination to sort of have that inner voice that speaks to you, and to learn that early is great. It's like, you're listening to a developed intuition instead of just like whatever comes into your head.
There's an inner voice anyway that chatters nonstop. So knowing that you have that inner superpower to direct that voice to what you want. So when I talk about like the changing the channel, it's like if you go and turn on the TV, and my son likes to watch YouTube videos, and you see a YouTube video and you're not interested, you don't just sit there and suffer through it.
Right.
You change it. Well, we can do that with our thoughts. Oh, that's going to be too hard. You're going to fail. Nah, I don't like that thought.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fight it. Like, you don't look at that channel on TV and go, I don't like this channel. I hate this channel. This channel's terrible, and just keep watching it. You change it.
It's totally true.
And I want to give kids the kind of knowledge that they can do the same thing. I don't like that thought. I want to switch it to, I can. Yeah, I'm a little scared. So what? Yeah, I'm a little nervous. So what? That's okay, because you're going out of your comfort zone. This is actually a good thing.
Yeah, that's how we grow.
That's how we grow. It's the only way we grow.
Yeah.
You know, and it's either you're going to do that and, you know, we'll call it suffer that kind of uncomfortable feeling to get out.
Yeah.
Or you're going to go, okay, whew, I decided not to do it. I listened to that other voice, the negative one, the stink think one, but I feel better.
Yes.
Until like 20 minutes later when you regret it and you're like, oh,
yeah.
You feel bad about yourself. That grows.
Yeah. You have to cut it off and changing the channel in that way. I think is a wonderful analogy that, you know, we've all, again, we're coming back to the screen issue, but it's true. It's like, you know, if you can't switch it up for yourself, like that's when these negative things snowball. Yeah. I think also this age that I'm dealing with right now, a 7-year-old kid, he doesn't understand the feelings, the emotions that flow in and out of him, you know, that are affecting him and that he wants to put out there. Last night we had a frustrating night, and he couldn't communicate the frustration that he had. Yeah. He was just overwhelmed, and it pained me to, you know, not know how to either help him get that out of his system or to get him to redirect. And finally I asked him if he wanted to arm wrestle. And
did he?
Yeah, he did. And then, you know, we had a good laugh because, you know, he wasn't trying at first. And then of course, like, you know, I was letting him win, and then I did one of these and he's laughing and all that. And it got out of it.
You found the thing.
Yeah, but like, I think, you know, seeing through his eyes, like he needs some coaching on that. And I think there's so many kids who hit those points, and, you know, to survive in our world, you're usually a busy person if you're a parent. You know, you have a lot going on in the world, and there, you know, you want to give everything to your kids. Sometimes you have to choose work as opposed to choosing, you know, what they, you know, want from you in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you'll be glad to know that we're going to show Waylon and others their power place. And it's physiological. We're going to show them when they get to that upset point that there's something that they can do.
Great.
They don't have to just go with it and experience it. They can stop the action. Yeah. And it's going to be like taking deep breaths, and we talk about taking them into their solar plexus, and we talk about solar as your energy source, just like the panels on your house, right?
Awesome.
And then once you do that, you pull your shoulders back because you get into your powerful position, your pose. And then we tell them, like, get into a power pose, whatever, and they get to create their own power pose.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a tool for them to use whenever that happens. Now, of course, it takes some practice, or as Max tells Dax, it takes prax.
Yeah.
You know, he has a superhero lingo in there.
I love the superhero lingo, and that it, you know, it's all rhyming and all that.
That's the glow, bro.
It's I mean, it's like you want things to be memorable in books and have those, like, you know, little things that will stick. Yeah. So absolutely. It's really well written. It's exciting. It's fun to, you know that when, like, I'm reading something with my kid, that it's teaching. It's not just like something to pass the time or to, like, hear about some bunny that, like, found a hole and, you know, found a carrot and whatever. Yeah. You know, like, this is really a fun educational book that, like, really was good for Waylon, you know, then will continue to be. And I'm going to have to catch up with some of his, like, new things that he's going to learn, which will be great. Yeah. And I can always go to the source as well, I know now. So
the source is your friend.
Yeah, I love that. And I guess I want to ask, like, to sort of move away from the effect this has on the children, because it's positive. Everybody check it out, please, because the advice is really sound. All right, it's really reasonable, and the direction of that. And I've always found when people have something going on and I'm talking to them about that stuff, like, I can provide some advice that would hopefully be valuable to them. But when I have my own stuff, I don't always give myself the good advice or whatever. I'm definitely a dick sometimes, you know, like to myself, but, like, just like my way is not, it's like I can be abrasive, you know, I'll own that, you know, and that's part of who I am, but it's not the inner self. It's just like these things that happen, in my opinion.
A pattern.
A pattern that just, if I get frustrated, I don't always react so nice. But like, I know I'm not a bad person or anything like that.
Yeah.
But so I won't coach myself out of that so well. You know, I thankfully have a wonderful wife who's really good at that.
Calls you out.
Yeah, but like, so how do you internalize your own messaging to affect your own life in a positive way? And obviously, like, this is positive self-talk stuff, but like, are you able to consistently do that? Are there any tricks to that for you that I can learn? Because I'd like to know more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I choose it. You know, I choose it. And first of all, I choose to study it.
Okay.
And then I use what I study. I don't get fixed into like it's my way or the highway, because I know the results I've gotten from certain ways of being. And it goes both ways. Like certain ways of being have really gotten me some good stuff.
Yeah.
Other ways of being have not. Personally, for me, I have a couple. Impatience. And I share this with the kids because we go over in my other course, Keys to Unlock Your Inner Superpowers, these 4 questions. Who am I? What do I want? Why do I want it? How am I going to get it? It's called the power formula. And when we do the who am I, it's like the ingredients that make up me. And we talk about like what ingredients would go into an ice cream sundae, right? This is all kid talk. Like I always tell everybody, I talk kid.
I get the message.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
get
it's a great analogy.
It is.
So,
it is.
So then we say, you know, both the good and the not so good ingredients, the rotten ingredients, the ones that don't taste so good if you put them into an ice cream sundae. And so for me, I'll tell the kids, I'll go impatience. And impatience doesn't help me. In fact, it actually has caused some problems, like getting other people upset. And then, like an example would be, we go to Vegas often because my parents live there. And my wife is slow. She just is. And I'd be like, oh, come on, are we gonna go?
To like drive there?
To get in the car and drive there,
like it's a 5-hour trip, like you gotta get going.
Let's go. And it didn't make her go faster, it made her like upset.
Yeah.
And what I didn't foresee into the future is I needed to sit in a car with her for the next 5 or so hours, and now I've upset her. Like, you know, let's make the bear mad.
You want.
Yeah. So what I did is I got one of those.
Bear. Yeah. I know a bear like that.
You know, a bear like that.
Yeah.
So I got one of those chime bowls. You know, with the little thing.
Yeah.
And I decided when I was starting to feel impatient and I felt like it was time to go.
Yeah.
I would just go ding. A couple things happened. For me, I focused on something else.
Yeah.
For me, the sound kind of changed the environment a little bit from like to
Yeah.
And lastly, I was letting everybody know without yelling that I was ready to go.
That's a beautiful shift. I love that. And you know, like there's 2 ironies here. I gotta just say, like humorously. First one is the ice cream analogy, fantastic, because one of my first jobs was this place called Hoagie Yogi, and we made sandwiches, hoagies, and we made yogurt, and the machine that they had developed basically like mashed the ingredients into the yogurt, and it came out like one awesome swirl. Shout out to the Pratt family, thank you for that job. Anyways, you know, that definitely sank in with me. And the second one, the bowl was in the front, like on our console table on the way out of the house. And my kid just bing, bing, you know, that noise? That's the noise I hear. But I need to show and do this, you know, and peacefully calm down for those times. That's a great idea. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's going to help. And so now I guess I'm suggesting everybody go get sound bowls.
Go get sound bowls.
If you have a bear. You know,
Sponsored by sound bowls.
Yeah, totally. No, that's really good is shifting the way that everything feels, you know, in order to help everyone rather than, you know, just like letting your anxiousness, your impatience, because I have the same thing. You know, well, I'll be down in 5 and it's 12 minutes later. And, you know, God bless her. She always looks fantastic when she comes down. But it can be frustrating when you're waiting for someone. So,
and you think about what's the goal, what's the end result? Is the goal to upset people, or is the goal to get in the car and get moving? And if the goal is to get in the car and get moving, but you're upsetting people, you have to change what you're doing and how you're going to do it. And you might just even look at yourself and just go, why am I so impatient? Why do I need to get in the car at this exact moment?
Yeah.
Why can't I just sit back and relax?
You're going to be in the car for 5 hours. What's another 5 minutes or 10
no,
minutes?
right, exactly. And so when you start kind of looking at that, you're willing to look at it. And, I love my dad a lot, but he gave me impatience. He's super impatient, right?
I see.
And so I then realized I'm just following a pattern that I didn't like as a kid. Why would I want to put that on everybody else? So I've really got my impatience under control, and I feel much better about it.
Yeah, imagine the cortisol is settled more often than rising.
It's settled. And then, just to make it clear with my dad, because when he was being impatient, it would always cause strifes in our family. However, when I was taking this course, one of the things that we had to do was look at a different view, change the view of things. And it was like how your parents were. So, of course, my dad is impatient.
Yeah.
And if your dad's impatient, you kind of don't relate. You're like nervous and worried, and you better get in the car. And if you don't do it, you're going to get in trouble and like all that kind of stuff. Because it was this impatience thing that I was that had a power over me. So what I did in this course is I changed the view, because you can always change the view.
Yeah.
And I decided it was my dad not wanting us to miss out on anything. And that was who he was.
It wasn't a bad thing. It was just the way he went about it.
It was fine.
Yeah.
And I called, because in this course you have to call and tell him your new view.
Oh.
Hey, Dad, I've been, acting like you're impatient all the time. And I bet your dad was too, like he was. And so I just want to let you know that it doesn't have to be impatient. In fact, I think you were just taking care of us. I just didn't want us to miss out. And he really appreciated that.
That's really an amazing revelation. I think to learn about yourself through your ingrained generational inherited traits.
Yeah.
That is like a big thing to take ownership of and grasp, and then to see how it affected you when you were young in order to benefit our next generation is really huge. I mean, I imagine your son, won't like see the other side that you had to feel, growing up. Like he'll have this other thing that is, really positive come out of that.
Absolutely. He amazes me all the time, the way that he handles stuff.
I love it.
It's really cool. Yeah.
So you're a coach and you're a father. This is another one of my questions.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between the two, and how do you, go from one to the other, or is it all one level playing field?
When I coach, it's usually a short term, like spurts type thing, whether it be a course or if I'm one-on-one coaching a kid.
Yeah.
So it's talking and it's listening and like that. For Dax, because I'm with him, it's showing more. Mm-hmm. He has to see who I am, because he sees like when I have a challenge and how I handle it.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad.
Sure.
And then it's me telling him, I didn't handle that well, I reacted. Or telling him, if he didn't see it, like, I handled that this way because I saw that maybe, this would be the result. If I handled it different, this could be the result. So he's we're in each other's world.
Yeah.
So that's how it's different.
I see. Yeah, it's rather than like actively modeling.
Hey, this is your coaching session. Sit down for 30 minutes.
Yeah. I think that's a good reminder to me as well, is that like they always say like your kids are observing every little thing, and sometimes you don't realize they're picking things up or whatever.
Right, totally.
I mean, in another way, my kid had this thing not too long ago where we didn't think he was listening, and 3 weeks later or something, it was very apparent that he had caught the entire thing. And my wife and I were like, oops. Maybe like you act like you can't hear us when the TV's on or the iPad's on or whatever, but like you're still absorbing.
Yeah.
So it's really important to remember that with them, and that's really a healthy behavior too, is to like always be modeling. And I guess the only other thing I want to ask about that is like when you had one of those things that happened where you were like, I could have handled that better. Yeah. How does Dax take it, and like how does that sort of conversation go for you guys? You know?
Well, we've done it for many years. My son's now 10, so a couple years older than yours, and now he's much more like conversational.
Yeah.
And so he will say things like, I noticed that. Yeah. Or that's okay, Daddy. you know.
Yeah.
He's very sweet and kind, my son. And so he can feel when like I might be down or something's not going right, you know, and he will come to me and he'll be like, it's going to be okay, Daddy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But I attribute that a lot to the fact that, you know, like I said, I wrote the first book 5 years ago. So he was about 5 and it was in COVID time. And he used to go on these Facebook groups like once a week and talk to like the personal development, like the Bob Proctor group that I was in. And he would have like Sundays with Dax. And he would go on and start talking about like, you know, just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Like there's a house around the corner and I know it's there, but I can't see it right now.
Wow. That's a wise observation
Right?
As a youngster.
So since he's been doing that throughout all this time, plus there's a book about him, he goes with me to signings and things like that. And he's done the courses, right? He'll be there Friday again, doing the course. And he absorbs it. He really likes it. We have a shirt called I Beat the Blobs, and he loves to wear it everywhere, which is really awesome.
He loves you. He believes in you.
Yeah.
You know, he's proud of you. That's the ideal scenario. I'm excited to see how that goes, you know, on Friday for all the kids, but especially mine.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, man. That's great. You mentioned the pandemic, which is something I wanted to talk about besides your award-winning Dax to the Max book. The idea that so many people had circumstances out of their control in the pandemic is very common, but the specifics of that for everybody are different. Yeah. Right? Like we all had a different journey in that time. Yeah. You know, your DJ party business, is it, would you call it the party business? How would you describe what you had?
So I had a company for 25 years called Extreme Fun. It was an interactive entertainment company. We did about a dozen different types of parties, about 300 parties a year. Wow. Had staff between 12 and 15 people, 3 or 4 vehicles, a warehouse. At one point, prior to the pandemic, we were going into franchise mode. We were going to franchise. So the DJ company was kind of an extension of the party company. Yep. It all came because I decided that the party shouldn't end at 5. So I taught myself how to DJ with 2 Sony Discmans, Radio Shack mixer, lavalier mic, and said I'm a DJ, and I had my book of CDs. Yeah. And I popped in and told the kids don't dance too close because I didn't want them to skip, right? That kind of thing.
That's awesome.
And that's how it all began. And so the DJ company is the only thing that I have part of it left. And I say part of it because when I used to DJ, when I had the full company, I had party pumpers, which were my dancers. I had lighting trusses that we would put up, video projection screen, shadow dancing, photo booth. Now it's me as a solo act. I go out and I DJ still. Yeah. So I keep doing that a little bit, but not even close to what I used to do. Yeah. But the rest of the party company, which is what happened in COVID, is it closed.
Yeah. I'm sorry that happened, but I mean, like, was it really just that there were no parties to be had, obviously?
Yeah, I mean, party company was, you know, one of the worst things you could have because there was no gatherings. Yeah. And people were very nervous. And then the other problem was that you didn't really know when it was over. And so people were still nervous about having gatherings. Sure. And people being how people are, you know, some of them didn't want to look bad or be that person who had a party and everybody else was like, oh my God, don't you even know what's going on? You're an insensitive jerk. Right. And then following that, you know, a lot of people had a lot of financial issues in different ways. And parties aren't, you know, food and water. They're that extra thing. And kind of, nah, we'll just have one at home this year, when they used to have like bigger, more extravagant ones. So yeah, it was a lot of time without any parties. In addition, I had a staff who were mostly like college age students. So they had moved on. Yeah. They couldn't stay for a year and a half.
Just wait for it.
Just wait for it. Yeah. And my system really was that they kind of brought their friends in to come work for me. And so when somebody left, I'd be like, who has a friend who wants a job? You know, that's kind of fun. Yeah. And so without them, I would have had to start completely over.
Just made more sense
and
to
I
close
just
the doors.
Couldn't do it. No, I just, I couldn't do it.
Too much.
It was too much, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What did that feel like?
It felt confusing. I mean, the whole time felt confusing for everybody, but now it really was confusing because I dropped out of college to start my party company. So now it was kind of like,
that's pretty entrepreneurial.
It was crazy entrepreneurial. So now it's kind of like, what do I do? What do I have? Like, what am I? But I had studied personal development from so many different modalities since probably, 10 or 12 years old. And I loved it. I was so interested in it. And I took courses and year-long courses, and I coached voluntarily at different places. And it was the time when I just realized, people kept talking, like, kids are going through so much. This is going to be like a big deal.
Yeah.
And I thought, here's my own son. Let me, in this moment, instead of like, woe is me, let me take what I know, what I wish I would have known as a kid, and try to make it kid friendly so I can help kids build up their confidence, right? Not let the effects of the world take them down and have lots of excuses. It was what I had to do myself, not let the effects of the world take me down because I lost my party company. I had to cause something. Be the cause of it. So I was going to cause this. So I caused the book, I caused the courses, I caused the next book.
I respect that a lot.
Thank you.
Transitioning the way I am, from the music industry to, I'm still in the music industry, but like I'm trying to do other things, obviously. There's a bit of a, like you realize that everything before is what was before, and you have to start something like from within and have the idea and build it on your own. And that figuring out process, it's not only scary, but it's exciting. It's this interesting mix of like, what can I do? Oh, I can do anything I want. I can literally, like, we're fortunate that we're not in like a real communist society where like we have to go to the breadline or whatever. We can be creative and find that thing. What do you think that does for yourself, for the inside to like have that, I guess, freedom, but also pressure in your view? Like, how did that go for you?
Going. So
fair enough. Me too.
Right. It's always a journey. So when I first had this idea, it just so happened that at the office space I used to have, as I was kind of closing it down and all of that, there was a guy who had an office space 2 doors down, and we only like waved at each other in passing and stuff. But I happened to be there more, like out front moving stuff, and he was there. And it turns out he had worked for Tony Robbins for like 20 years, and he had a podcast. He did like a podcast in there, and he had a full studio and all that kind of stuff. We were talking, and I was like, he's like, what's happening? I was like, I got, close down my party company. I'm leaving it, but like, I've studied personal development, social emotional growth and learning, and I, with all the working with kids, I'm going to create this new thing. He's like, oh, it's amazing. That's awesome. I go, it's just kind of hard leaving this other thing that I've only known. He goes, you're not leaving it. And I go, no, you don't understand. See, I'm closing. I'm not going to do the parties anymore. He goes, I heard you. You're taking what you had to something new. You're not leaving anything. You're taking it.
Right. It doesn't separate from your identity. It's still a part of you.
And all the lessons and all the experience and everything. Like, it's not closing and I'm starting. And that really gave me a beautiful perspective on what I was doing. And then, of course, I thought, well, I'm going to create a course, and I'm going to write a book, and everybody's going to know me, and it's going to be beautiful and perfect, and I'm going to have so much money and everything, right? It didn't happen like that, because the problem was, and continues to be, and that's why I love being able to do podcasts like this, is there is an education for those parents who have not done their own personal development, where if there's not a fire, like their kid isn't like doing something extreme, and they're like, what do I do? And then they're looking for therapists or drugs or whatever to help their kid. If it's not there, there's nothing to do. And that's just so far from the truth, because there's the vitamin before the medicine. There's the empowerment, giving them the tools so the fire has less of a chance of happening, right? Some of the other kind of good analogies to it is studying before the test, not sit there at the test, right? This is my new recent one. It's the pipe that looks like there's a little leak. Oh, well, let's go check that out. Let's not wait for the flood, right? And now we got to,
You don't let the problem become so big that it's a disaster. If you notice a small thing that could be corrected, and in order to avoid for the future, that's a big thing. And I mean, I can relate to this before you continue. It's just like my TEDx talk was it's called Mental Resilience is the New Seatbelt. And it's all about being mentally prepared for whatever disaster, breakdowns, crashes, whatever happen. You want to be in a position where, if that, God forbid, will happen to you, you're ready and you have some kind of an understanding of how to get through it.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic that, we're, thinking the same way.
That's good. Yeah. It's everybody has something. So when you said, like, if you see a little something, that's true. There's always going to be a little something. But I don't even think that's necessary, and that's the education. It's like, power your kids up.
Yeah.
Give them some tools. Let them know that they can change the channel on their thoughts and they can use their imagination. They can direct it, and they don't have to just imagine the worst, but they can actually let that go by and imagine it's going to work out. We were talking earlier, I was talking about the wrong what ifs.
Right.
We were talking about my friend who's a musician and thinks, what if I fail? What if I, don't make any money? What if everybody laughs? Well, this is a kid thing. What if?
Yeah.
Why not think, what if it's great? What if I learn? What if it's amazing?
Well, and that's a lot of the stuff that I think we're ingrained in is like what keeps people in line and in their little lane, where they might have a dream, they might have an idea for a business, whatever that thing is, they might not feel like enough belief in themselves to go and do that. Yeah. But what's the trade-off, right? Like in your, thinking, like the what if the positive is much more attractive than the what if the negative. But for people who may not have that belief system ingrained in them, that like the what if negative is gonna really pull them, and drag them down.
Right.
And you have to take some risks. You have to build, and like when you build, you're not starting from where you want to be. You're building to that,
Yeah.
And I get that. And I know you're working on it too. And it's a beautiful thing, I think, to do it for the right reasons, for your kids, basically, like to hopefully provide them an environment that we didn't get to enjoy, in that way. And I should say that, like, I had a really good childhood. Right. I was lucky. I had parents that loved me. I was in a community that was safe. But I still have my hang-ups and my issues, that are to be dealt with. And like it's not all easy or linear to get from point A to point Z.
You got things from your parents. They didn't mean to give it to you. They just already had it, and they were just parenting the best they could. And you got things from your environment, and the environment didn't necessarily say you should have this. It's just something you experienced, and you decided to keep it.
Yeah.
And then you carried it into the next thing and the next thing, and that's everybody. I mean, that's everybody, right? Yeah. But at some point, we can just look at things and go, is that serving me? And if it is not, start releasing it. Let it go. I think as adults, especially if we didn't have like this type of thing as children, and I don't know people my age, I don't know about your age, who had this when they were kids that much, right? Then I think as adults, it's more letting go than getting.
Yeah.
We got to just let things go, release things, shed.
Yeah, I think that's a really hard thing for a lot of people to do. I think you hold tight onto things that, you want in your life, but a lot of times those won't serve you as much as...
They're familiar.
Yeah.
If you let them go, you're like, who am I? But what you realize is they're not your identity.
Yeah, it's like something you did or, a piece of your life. It's not necessarily all of who you are. And I think that's important too for people who struggle to know, is that like if you get through that difficult moment of, realizing this, you can get to a much better place that you would never have imagined is at all possible.
Absolutely.
And that's the beauty of growth and development, and what is a core message of this that I'm really attracted to. I really love that for the next generation. I grew up like doing swim coaching and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I loved it. And it was cool to see year to year how the kids would improve and their confidence would build as they did more practice and like accomplished those little goals of like, oh, this kid wants to be the first in the heat this time, and it took a couple years, but when they get there, there's a shift, and you can see it in them. It's almost like they're powering up, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I know that's real and attainable, but it's not like taught so much. So anyways, this goes to the whole picture we're talking about.
And as I grew up as a swimmer, one of the things I wish I would have known is that the results didn't define me because my emotions traveled with the results. If I got that time that I wanted to, that place that I wanted to, or if I didn't. And what I would want kids to know and what I teach them is that you get to do your best. Keep trying to do better. Consistency is important, right? Keep at it. Don't necessarily be attached to every little result, but be committed to an end result, being a goal, right? And then when it doesn't work out, don't get down on yourself, but do what the professional athletes do. When they look at the film, they look at what was missing. What could they have done different or added or even subtracted, right? There's a few ways to say it, but what was missing in that world that could get them to their goal? And then they'll go practice that. They'll go put that in. Like, what's the gap? How do I close that gap?
I'm with you. I think, well, I'm just likening all this to my kid. I'm personalizing it all,
good.
but like he hasn't gotten there yet to that point where he knows, like if he has a bad game, that it's like, that doesn't mean he's a bad player. It means he needs to practice more and work harder to, deal with something in a different way the next time around. And that's a lesson we all need to remember, regardless if it's, something big that we gotta, like try to attain. It's important to, just believe in yourself and to know that like nothing's gonna come easy. It's gotta be practiced. It's gotta be work, like that. Unless you're, I don't know, like super lucky in this world.
Once you get there, you've gotten to the starting point of a new journey. So it's a journey. So when I'm coaching kids, and I thought I had to, like, if I was going to become a coach, I better like have it all down. And then I realized the best way to coach kids is tell them how you use this stuff that you're telling them. In all the junk that you're going through every single day because you're up to something.
That's really like the modeling I think they need is somebody to be real. It's not like a Instagram feed, like life's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be these challenges. There's going to be roadblocks. There's going to be bad shit. Sorry, guys. But it's like if you work through it, if you stay focused on a better path, a better way of handling all that, and you have these tools. I always talk about having a mental health toolkit. You learn and ingrain these growth development like aspects of yourself. So when you hit those spots, you can work with it. You can get through it. You know? And I think that's vital for the next generation.
I agree with you.
Super happy that you've created this, that we've been able to connect, in our community. It's really nice. Cool. And I'm stoked that you were able to be here on the podcast. It's just something I believe in, and I want to learn while I do it. I definitely learned during our chat today. I'm glad we could have this time. So thank you for being on here.
Thank you.
Everybody at home, thank you for joining us today on What Could Be Bad. We'll be back in another week with another episode with a special guest. And just take care of yourselves, be good to yourselves, be good to others. We'll see you soon.